You know a show's dated just by how tone deaf its messages can be. My Daddy Longlegs is, on paper, a decent concept with a unique enough premise for anime that spirals into an odd turn of uncomfortable levels of slippery ideas. And that's not to say it's not understandable. It was a different time back then, and we are growing better at identifying issues like this, so it doesn't happen again. But I don't know, I feel like there was a legitimately flowing narrative that just soured into a cliche telling of a dime a dozen romanticized comedy. The story follows Judy Abbott, an accident-prone airheaded orphan who's given the opportunity to go to a high-class private school at the behest of an unknown patron whom she dubs Daddy Longlegs on account of seeing his long shadowy figure. There, Judy brings her low-class antics to the school, all the while everyone gawks and slowly begin to admire her unique personality. Meanwhile, Judy's tasked to send letters to Daddy Longlegs to keep him updated on her wacky adventures as she goes through school. If you've ever seen Pippi Longstocking or read Tom Sawyer, then you'd have a decent idea of what the show's about. An orphan drifting through life one adventure at a time. And honestly, I was kinda feeling it at the start. I thought Judy was a really fascinating character, balancing her happy-go-lucky outlook on life and her inner turmoil on how alone and isolated she feels, being an orphan at this rich kid's school and not even being able to meet the person who's supporting her. It was a really solid idea. But then you can slowly see two things. One is someone becomes redundant. Judy has some crazy idea to make her or other lives easier, winds up either lying about it or it escalates into a bigger than her frenzy, and she learns her lesson. I wouldn't necessarily have this problem as they do at least seem to be creatively different and the lessons aren't entirely one note, there are good messages there, but you can quickly determine the outcome and the stakes that really seem almost pointless to this degree when it comes to fruition. The second, it becomes more and more romance oriented. Again, this isn't a bad idea if done well, and to be fair, it is a show centering on the adolescence of girls, but the best parts of the show were when Judy was being Judy, not just simply a girl in love. And yeah, let's talk about that elephant in the room. Spoilers. So, in one episode, Judy meets her friend's uncle, a 20-something-year-old eccentric. At first, she doesn't like his first impression, but he grows on her to where they have a friendly relationship. But as the series goes on, she starts to think more and more about him, even coincidentally winding up at the farm where he used to hang out over the summer. And she eventually falls in love with the idea of him. By the series' end, it's revealed that not only did he fall in love with Judy too, but he's also her patron, her Daddy Longlegs. Um, yeah. I know it's supposed to be an incredibly emotional moment, but dude, this feels icky. From what I understand, the original source material was a book from the 1910s, and the setting is also from that time frame in the USA. Even more so, the show came out in 1990, both times in which I guess this was more accepted, but dear lord, the ending definitely hasn't aged well. It's funny because Japan does have this long-standing history of child romance laws, child romance and culture, and until recently it didn't even morally feel out of place. But just say it out loud. A teenage orphan girl's older proprietor named Daddy Longlegs exchanged letters and feelings with her and successfully married her without any long-standing consequences. I hope that at least got you to think about that for a bit. So while I can't definitely say it's bad, I do think there are some well done scenes and atmospheric draw, it's still hard to really recommend it. It gets clunky in its later story rather early on in the show, and concludes on an ending that feels more dirty than heartwarming nowadays. I'll give them credit that it at least kept me rooting for Judy's overall growth as a human, and even some well-composed inner thought dialogue in her letters that are fascinatingly pronounced even by today's standards. But for me, one watch through is enough.